All right, so let's go ahead and start with this then. And what I want to kind of just get through today is the first part of this. This is actually a real short section. So we will finish this up next week, and then we'll do the next section too, because it's fairly short. So what I want to show you is if you were doing this arithmetic problem, this is real easy. You have two ways to do this arithmetic problem. One way to do this would be to just add up that numerator, and let's see if I can do that in my head. That's like 15 and 25 is 40, 40 plus 35 is 75, 75 minus 20 is 55. So what's 55 divided by 5? 11. The answer to our problem is 11. Okay? What I'm trying to show you is you could break this up. You could do just 15 over 5, 25 over 5, 35 over 5, and so forth. Let's see if we get the same answer. So 15 divided by 5 is 3. 25 divided by 5 is 5. 35 divided by 5 is 7. And then you have a subtraction. 20 divided by 5 is 4. Well, let's see if we also get 11. Well, that would be 8 plus 7 would be 15. And then 15 minus 4 is 11. So what I'm showing you to do on this is if your numerator has terms that are being added or subtracted, you can just split it up. I do this in higher math all the time. Sometimes I can tell students don't know hadn't done this before for some reason. So what we're going to do is we're going to learn how to simplify these. I'm going to do this one first. And one of the things I've done just to save time is split it up. When you do this algebra problem, what I'm doing is I'm just splitting it up into 4 pieces because the numerator has 4 pieces. Okay? So I went ahead and did that for you. All right? Now, you can do this in your head, but on this example, I'm not going to do it in my head. I'm going to show you that sometimes when some students are beginning to learn this, they need to do this, but you don't have to. I'm going to write that as 12 times x times x times x times x. Okay, then that's going to be 4 times x like that. I'm only going to do this one time. And then 16 x times x times x for the x to the third, 4x. And you don't have to write this down. If you can do this in your head, that's all I care about. Okay, and then the 4x, and then the last one I've got 32 times x over 4x. There are times when students forget the rules of exponents, and if you do, you have to do it this way. Okay? Now, watch what happens. On this fraction right here, what we have is 12 over 4 is 3, right? Okay, one of the x's crosses out, so you're left with a 3, and then you have 3 x's, so that's x to the third. Okay? That's what you're doing is just reducing. That's it. If you go to the next one, you're going to have 16 over 4 is 4. So we have minus 4. And again, one of the x's crosses out. You're left with x times x. So that's x to the second. Okay? And then this next one, you go to the next one, it goes like this. 20 divided by 4 is 5. One of the x's cross out. So what are you left with? 5. Plus 5x, like that. Okay? And then the last one, the x's cross out. 32 over 4 is 8. So you'd be left with plus 8. So that right there is your answer. Now, your goal on this problem is to do this in your head. Okay? I want you to be able to do stuff in your head. Here's what you do. 12 divided by 4 is 3, right? Look at this. Which part of the fraction has more x's, top or bottom? There's 4 there, there's 1 there, so there's 3 left over, right? Same thing with here. 16 over 4 is 4. Which part has more x's? The top has 2 more x's. That's why it's that way. You can also subtract exponents. 4 minus 1 is 3. 3 minus 1 is 2. 2 minus 1 is 1, and so forth. Do it in your head. It's easy. Okay? All right. So let's go through some of these examples. I went ahead and did the first step for you. So what I want to do is kind of get you to process this in your head. After you've split it up, then just start processing it in your head. There's a few issues that you might have some background problems with. In your head, what's the first box? 7x, right? 14 divided by 2, 7. One of the x's crosses out, leaving you 1 x in the top. How about the next one? It's just a 5 because the x to the thirds cross out. Okay? Watch the next one carefully. This is where students mess up. 14 divided by 2 is 7, but which part of the fraction has more x's, top or bottom? Okay, so after they cancel, the one left over is on the bottom. Okay, and see, the thing on this is, a lot of times, if you don't know that, then just write it out the long way, and then it'll be very clear that that's what you have. You have an x left in the bottom. You see what I mean? Okay, so that would be the correct way to write the answer, is like that. Whichever part of the fraction has more x's is going to be where it ends up. Is that logical? Okay, all right. So let's go this next one. Again, I've got it set up. So what's the answer to the first thing in your head? 3r to the 5th, right? Okay. Remember, you're just subtracting exponents. 6 minus 1 is 5. How about the next one? 5r to the 2nd. Good. All right, everybody with me on that? You've already done this. When you learned how to do common factors, this is what you did. Okay? So we've done this before. Students usually do this very well. Okay? So now the next one is one that you have to be very careful with the negatives. So when I split it up, I have a negative there in the denominator. So we want to be careful about this. All right, what's the answer to the first box I drew in your head? -3, right. Okay, x's cross out. Done. Okay, next one. Let's be real careful on this one now. Notice that you have two negatives. So what's that going to give you? Positive. Pay attention to that, okay? Now, what's 20 divided by 4? 5. Now, which part has more x's, top or bottom? Bottom. So how many are going to be left in the bottom? 2. There's 2 more. See, that's the way to do that. If you think through the problem that way, it helps you understand anyway. Okay, it's bottom heavy. Okay, after they cancel, that's where it's left over. Okay, that'll kind of keep us from having to worry about the negative exponent situation, at least for today. Okay, let me do a couple more here, and then we'll finish up here, and then we'll just kind of review this next time. Okay, so let's see. Let's see on this one. Why don't you guys go ahead on this one, and let's reason that out. And I think I'll stop after you do this problem. So just go ahead and I'll give you a minute to reason that out, and then we'll stop here, because it takes a little longer to explain what's going on number 6. I'm afraid if I explain it today, you won't have a clue what I'm talking about. Just depends on your background, though. So, some of you got great background on that. Now, you could use your calculator. I have a sneaking suspicion that I did something wrong here. You see this thing right here, 1624? I think that was intended to be a 24. What do you think? It still works. What? Does 1624 divided by 8 a whole number? Well, I wouldn't have known. Okay, but that wasn't intended. Okay, all right. Well, let's see what we got here. So 16 over 8 is 2. And then what do you have on the x's? X the third, y's, y the fourth. See, nothing to it. Okay, so how many are left over? How far apart they are. Next one, we have 24 over 8 is 3. And then what? X to the first, right? Y to the first. You just put xy. Okay. Last one, you have 48 divided by 8 is 6, and then what? Everything else cancels, like that. That's it? Okay, isn't that easy? Okay, that's usually not a big problem area for students. Okay, all right, so we'll wrap this up next week.